My name's Carol Black, and I work for a charity called Clan in Aberdeen. And my job there, my work there, is a therapist. And I noticed that you said you're setting up this group and looking at all, and you actually used the word holistic. Now, the one thing that I noticed was missing was therapies. And I know for a fact in Europe that is a big part of the cancer treatment. And you had slides up saying that they had better results. I'm just pointing out that I feel that this might be an area that you're missing, where it helps people with the other aspects, the fallout of being diagnosed, the fallout of the treatments that they're getting, and the ongoing support. That's where we come into our own. But I think that's something that you should be looking at as well. Is that okay?
Absolutely. I'll shout.
I'll give you this one.
And you can turn that one on for me. Thanks, Alan. Cheers.
Carol, I was very conscious that I could probably talk for about 4 hours about this. And the role of therapies, absolutely. It's interesting the work we're doing in libraries, in large part started about providing information. But increasingly what families wanted was access to therapies. And in the libraries just now, that's what we're doing, in partnership with organisations who are best placed to do that. So you're speaking to the converted.
But you need somebody who's got experience of that on your panel.
Absolutely, and I think, if I didn't get this across, forgive me, and I'll say it again, is that organisations such as Clan, such as Maggie's, all those organisations who are providing this kind of cover, this kind of support, for me, is part and parcel of what we're doing. We need to create an environment that organisations such as Clan can get involved.
Can I come back to that after Angus? Was it yourself?
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your address. I'm Angus McCormack. I'm the current chair of the Aberdeen Men's Cancer Support Group. I also have some involvement with the local authority, and I would have to say that the support that we get from the benefits worker in the Outer Hebrides is just fantastic. It does a great deal for cancer patients. But I'd actually like to address my remarks to David and to his campaign for detecting cancer early. The third most prevalent cancer in men, as I understand it, is prostate cancer. I have prostate cancer, and it's the commonest cancer in our group. Most recently, the people coming to the group with prostate cancer, their cancer had moved from the prostate because they weren't detected early. There is a test, the PSA, which I find the medical profession and the government do not wish to entertain. I don't understand that. I had no symptoms personally, and it was because I actively asked for my PSA to be tested that I was eventually detected. So the question is, why are you not testing men over a certain age with PSA tests for prostate cancer? Thank you.
Okay. I can answer that question from a GP point of view, or from the government, the Detect Cancer Early programme's point of view. The Detect Cancer Early programme was costed out on the basis of 3 tumour groups that made up 45% of the cancer incidence in Scotland. And we had to start somewhere. And we need to know how that programme evaluates before rolling it out. And yes, absolutely, we had a lot of people in the consultation period saying, look, when is melanoma going to be part of this group? When's prostate going to be part of this programme? When's upper GI, upper gastrointestinal cancer is going to be part of this programme? And it is coming. If we can prove that this campaigning works, that it gets people to present to their GP earlier, or it encourages people to look at what the benefits and risks of the screening programmes are, then absolutely the politicians will say, yes, this is working, here's some more money, take it further. But we've got to prove it first. in anticipation of that, we have been looking at what other tumour groups we bring onto that. And the Scottish Cancer Coalition were one of a number of consultees that we asked to score what would be the next group in an orderly queue, or because you can't put everything on the TV at the one time. You've got to take it a bit at a time. So that process is going through at the moment in anticipation of more funding coming. So when it will happen, I don't know. But we have got that in our sights. As far as I think it's probably unfair that the government can't interfere about when clinicians offer a test. That's not government's job. They can't order clinicians who are trained to offer a test to people when they do it. But we do need to get over the evidence a bit better, and there is, as you probably know, a prostate support pack for primary care to help them to counsel patients through when they come and ask for a PSA test. And my sense is that there are more PSA tests being requested and being done. You know the arguments probably better than I do about does it lead to over-treatment. And we have the same arguments about breast screening and about bowel screening. I think we're on the cusp of getting that evidence completely out in the open, but I think there's still a wee bit to go yet, but I don't think it's that far off, and I think there will be more positive steps taken to encourage PSA testing amongst the general population. But we're not just there yet.
Thanks, David. I would pass the microphone back to Alan, because I think the next question is about support groups, which is his domain.
Lost the thread of it now. You were talking about who you were involving in your project there, but you didn't mention support groups now, and you're starting sort of in the Edinburgh area, Edinburgh and Lothians there. I think I heard somebody saying. But we as a support group are, again, we visit the patients and we speak to ladies who are being sent home, elderly ladies, being sent home with no backup, and we haven't got any help for them. Now, we could help you find patients, surely, if you find the groups who are meeting patients.
This working? Yes.
Yep.
It might just be my skills as an orator. I think I did. I think I was implying, I wasn't explicit about it, that when it comes to involvement, the expertise isn't on the stage, it's out there. I think what we need to do around the TCAP programme is to create the framework that facilitates that. I think all we're doing is building a framework where we can have a group of patients and carers tell us what involvement should look like, and that group should be the group that comes back and says, we've got this range of expertise and experience out there that we need to tap into. I'm under no doubts about that, but I need patients and their families and their carers to tell us rather than me tell them. So I understand the experience that's in this room. I understand the experience and abilities that exist in local communities we never tap into. That some of the support needs aren't about local government or the NHS or Macmillan, it's about local communities looking after each other and how we tap into that. And I think some of the guys in the audience right now are the best people to tell us. Is that okay?
I think the patients don't have access when they're in hospital. There isn't the matrons or the almoners to push them to the right area to get some treatment after, care, TLC after they get out of hospital.
Yeah,
I
agree with you.
You're needing to get the breast nurses or the ward sisters, or I wish they'd bring the matrons back, because it would be a damn sight better.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think what I'm saying is I think there are other professionals out there who may not be based in health right now who can facilitate that. I think there's enough evidence to point that early intervention, whether it's health or social care or financial, to offset problems. I think it's about asking the right questions at the right time. I think there's a fear within clinicians to ask questions beyond issues around treatment because they don't know what solutions are out there and how to signpost people to those. I think the role of a TCAC programme is to create some of those solutions so that clinicians feel very comfortable in asking those questions. And I think it's not new for lots of other conditions, but managing transitions between acute care and home, particularly for the frail elderly. We can do it in other areas, why can't we do it in cancer? There's already enablement packages that local government provide for people who've got severe and enduring conditions. Why isn't cancer part of that? So I guess it's conversations we need to have with local government to ensure that they're part of that. It's also ensuring that the other support structures out there are ready, that are responsive. It's not about creating, and this is my opinion, it's not about creating cancer-specific services and communities. It's about ensuring that the services that are already there can react to cancer and understand it.
Older folk in your family need to watch their bowels. Cancer can be sneaky, like a ninja on the prowl. So listen to the song and get it in their head to make sure they don't end up dead. Tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your second Uncle Vlad. There's no need to be sad, it might not be so bad when they're next on the loo. Tell them what to do, spin yourself around and test your latest poo. Test your poo, test your poo, test your poo, test your poo. Spin yourself around and test your latest poo. You can spot the strangest things falling out your bum.
Sweet corn,
A marble.
7-year-old chewing gum.
Little gifts from stomach heaven come in many shapes. Some are big as logs, some are small as grapes. Cancer can't be seen, so you have to take the test. It's a simple task to take, to put your mind at rest. Tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your second Uncle Vlad. There's no need to be sad, it might not be so bad when they're next on the loo. Tell them what to do, spin yourself around and test your latest poo. Test your poo, test your poo, test your poo, test your poo. Spin yourself around and test your latest poo. Test your poo, test your poo, test your poo, test your poo. Spin yourself around and test your latest poo. It shouldn't take a marching band to tell you what to do. So on their cue, just listen what to do. A 1, a 2, you've got to test your poo. Test your poo, test your poo, test your poo, test your poo. Now you've heard it through, next time you're on the loo, you know what to do. Test your poo, test your poo, test your poo. Don't be absurd, test your turd. Don't be snobby, test your jobby. Holy moly, test your tully. Shanks a million. Now wash your hands.
So if you ever wonder what civil servants get up to in St Andrew's House, so moving on from the tech, you wouldn't believe, well, you would probably believe that just over 50% of people who are sent the Bill screening test actually do it, and that falls to just over 30% in some areas of Scotland. So we need to get that message over, and we've taken various tacks to that. That's aimed at the younger generation to see it on YouTube and to tell their parents and their grandparents, come on, just go and do it if you get that test through. Must do it.
I'm a lay representative on the Highland Cancer Steering Group, and I know that the boards are being taken to task regularly for not meeting targets. Now, we all know how important it is that our people are seen as soon as possible, but there has been concern raised that there is so much concern about reaching targets that we're losing the patient-centredness. Would you agree with that or not?
Targets are only one part of the story. There is, and I'm sure Jason would talk about the quality strategy last night, where that's about listening to patients and making sure that their communication and the care that we offer as an NHS is up to standard. I can tell you the number of letters that come in to the Cabinet Secretary on a weekly basis asking the Cabinet Secretary and the Government, why is my father, husband, brother, son not being treated in so many days? Why is he having to wait for so long for his treatment? And that these types of letters do drive things. I mean, it's continual. We are continually asked about waiting times. Why is the treatment not offered as soon as possible? But it is up to NHS boards to deliver against that target. But I think for boards to say that they are under constant pressure like that. Yes, of course, they are under pressure to deliver, but that pressure is coming from an elected government and from the concerns that patients have about their treatment times. So that drives that on the one side, but that target driving is not to be at the expense of quality of care. And no NHS board will be taken to task if they are trying to meet targets at the expense of quality.
David Allen, thank you very much for your openness and honesty today. It's very encouraging, I think, to hear that there's progress being made within the NHS and with no little humour as well, David, so thank you for that. It was encouraging for me to hear some of the wording used. You guys told us a lot in that short period of time. But the wording, for me, a couple of things stood out that I think it was David, you mentioned that people not being kept in hospital if they didn't want to be there. And Alan mentioned that patients and families must play a major part. And to me, that kind of resonates with what Ewan said this morning about whose needs are being met. So that was encouraging. Alan, great to hear that Macmillan continually addressing and reassessing the needs of individuals as they face the consequence of cancer. And as an organisation, we're very grateful to Macmillan for the continued support they give this conference, and we do hope that you'll continue with that support for some time to come. The question from the front here, and the answer you gave kind of stole my thunder a wee bit, because I was going to say we believe that this group can be a good partner to both Macmillan and NHS as they move forward. There's an awful lot of knowledge and experience in this room. It'd be an awful shame if that wasn't used. So we would encourage you to use this group. We think it's a great group. There's a lot of passion, a lot of enthusiasm for the support it's given. But once again, everybody, would you please join me for an excellent presentation by both David and Alan. Thank you.